All right, guys, so today I am continuing my work on the K5 laser project, and I am in the electrical portion of the build. So what we have are going to be two different harnesses. This one's from the rear of the vehicle that I've already added a connector on. And then we have this one from the front of the vehicle that I have not added a connector to yet. So what I want to do is just give you guys a quick step-by-step on how to add one of these nice connectors so you have waterproof connection, and then you have simple troubleshooting options for the future. So before I get started, I just wanted to say a quick prayer so we can get some understanding, some clarity, or if you have any stress or anything that's worrying you, I would just love the Holy Spirit to bring you peace. So, dear God, as we go to get started today to work on this K5 Blazer, we just want to acknowledge you and acknowledge your presence. We want to thank you for the peace that you bring us that passes all understanding. We thank you for the joy that you bring, the hope that you bring, God. We know anything outside of those things is not of you, and we just have the ability to let those go and just focus back on you. So we just thank you for your provisions and everything that you bring to us. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. All right, so let's get back to what we are working on today, and that's going to be this harness. So this is what it's going to start out looking like. You're just going to have some loose wires, and this is the headlight portion of the truck. And we're going to be tying this into the main harness on the truck. So same thing with the rear. I've already gone through and done this one. So by the time we're done, we're going to have two of these. This one's going to be going to the back, and this one's going to be going to the front. And then we're going to be able to just plug those into the main harnesses on the truck. So a few tools that you're going to need is going to be a nice set of wire cutters. You're going to need a nice set of wire crimpers to tighten down these connectors that come in this package. And then you're going to need a set of needle nose pliers or something like this. I'm not sponsored by this brand at all, but this is the most cost-effective and highly recommended brand that I've found on Amazon. And let me give you a little bit of a look of what you get in the packaging. So this is going to be the female plug, and this is going to be the male plug, and they're going to just go in just like this. Oh, wrong way. So they're going to go in like this. And then you can easily just disconnect it like that. And so that's the whole point of this, is being able to connect it with a nice tight seal and disconnect it without having to just cut the wires and try to redo things every time you needed to make a disconnection. So first, we're going to start with these wire cutters, and we're just going to clean up the wires right here and get the wires pulled off so we have exposed wire. And now we can start adding these ends to them. So there's going to be two different styles in the box that you get. There's going to be a male side and then a female side. Clearly the male is going to go in the female like this. And one thing to note is that it's going to be flip-flopped when you're installing them on the plug. So the female receiving side is going to get the male plugs added to the wires, and the male side is going to get the female ends added to the wires. So let me go ahead, and I'm going to be using the female side, so I'm using the male ends. Okay. So now what you're going to do is just get these nice and tight. Right now, you don't have to focus on order until you're putting them in. And you get these connectors right here, and they actually will go up into the connector. So it's going to be sitting down just like this. And what I do is I just squeeze them just a little bit so they sit nice inside my crimping tool. And then I grab my crimping tool and I crimp them. So it goes like this, right in there, like that. Crimp it down, do it again, crimp it down. And it's gonna leave a nice, solidly crimped end for me. And so now I'm gonna go through and do them do that to all of them. So now that I got these all connected, it's going to be pretty simple moving forward and getting them installed into the plug itself. One thing that you definitely want to take note is to what position you put these into this plug, because you're going to need it to correspond when you build the other plug. So what I like to do is I look at the colors that kind of match, and I'm just going to put those close to each other. So I'll put the blues right next to each other. I'll put these two dark ones. We have a brown and a black next to each other. And then I'm going to put the green and the beige next to each other. And so what you do is you're just going to slide it straight up through the bottom here. This is just a rubber seal to keep everything insulated well. So I'm going to go up with the first blue one, and it's going to sit right in there, and right to the side of it, I'm going to put the other blue one. And so now that we have all of those, we have one more step left to do. All right, so now we have all of the wires into the plug, and we just need to put in the retainer that's going to hold them all into place. So what you want to do is take your needle nose pliers, perfect, kind of sitting in there, and just take my pliers. So what you want to do is get it sitting in there, then you take your pliers and just push it down. And that's going to be it. So now you have a complete plug that's set up for one end, and this is going to be the headlight harness on my truck. And then what I'm going to do is take this other plug, and I'm going to be connecting this into the main body harness, so I can then just plug them in like this and have a nice, clean, waterproof connection for this section of the harness. All right, so I just got done making or at least adding the plug to the headlight harness section. And so I'm gonna now cut this down because this is gonna be super long. So I'm gonna cut this down so we can go ahead and add a plug to this section of it. And this is the section that goes to the bulkhead on the truck. And that way we'll just be able to plug them in. So this is, and I'll label this headlight harness right here. And so we can rip that open now. We'll need that label anymore. And what I'm gonna show you is how the harness actually comes with a bunch of different sections to make your own headlight harness. So on the harness, you can see that they have the green wire coming off, but then it pulls off into two sections here. And those will be going to either side of the vehicle. Same thing with the brown section. It pulls off into four, and that'll be going to either sides of the vehicle. And then we have the beige section. This one will be going to either side of the vehicle as well. Us using the original harness, we don't have to use all of those and wire in all the new plugs and bulbs for lights. What I'm going to be doing is just cutting it down right here. I'm going to grab that other harness, lay it in here, and then I'll be able to cut this down just a reasonable length so we can still have some wires to tuck away. And I'm going to be putting some loom on this when we're done. Well, before I start, actually, put some loom on here so it's nice and neat, and then I will be able to just add the plug to the end, and then we'll be able to just plug it in to the other harness. So give me 1 second, let me grab that harness so I can drop it in here, and I'm gonna grab the loom as well. All right, guys, so I went ahead and got the original harness, and I got that laid down in here. This is the end of that harness that we already put on this one. And so, as you can see, it leads quite a bit of ways back here. So I will not be needing all of this harness. I'm probably going to go ahead and cut it right around here. That way everything can be kind of tucked away nice and neat. We don't need too much wiring. So it's always a little nerve-wracking to cut a harness, but we'll be okay. So we'll go ahead and get this one cut. I'll say right here. Let me make sure everything is even. Yep. Oh, it's good. Go ahead and get that cut. And so this is all the extra wiring that I do not need from the painless harness, but it's because I'm able to reuse the original harness. So save myself a lot of headache. So now I am going to be covering this with the heat shrink. What I'm going to do first is pull this off. I put the zip tie on to keep everything together, but what I'm going to do is I have a bit of heat shrink here that's going to go to the back end of it here. I'm going to heat that up so it can keep this nice and tight down below. So this is going to go on first. And then I'm going to take some of this wire loom and measure it. Let me see how much of this loom I will need. Doesn't look like I'm going to need too much of it. That should be fine. I'm going to cut it right there. I always give myself a little extra because I can cut it down at the end, but prefer to just keep it neat. That way I can do it one time and not waste a bunch. So now we can send these wires through the loom this way. And you can see those frayed ends, and that's why I have this here, because I can melt that down and I can stick all of that inside of there right there. Keep it all neat, not making a mess everywhere. Almost there. So perfect. I'll deal with that in a little bit. But now I have my wires and I can now add my plug right here. So what I'm gonna do is go ahead and add another piece of that heat shrink right here. So this actually melts down. Give me 1 second, I'm gonna grab my heat gun so I can heat this up and close this down. And then I'm gonna add another piece of the heat shrink to this end, and then I'll go ahead and add my plug. So give me 1 second, let me get this done. All right, so we're back. I just wanted to show you guys the loom on the wires, and then I went ahead and put the heat shrink on the end, and I actually went and did it down here as well. So now this wire is nice and protected. It can be tucked away, and I'm just going to go ahead and get the plug added to this end. All right, guys, so this is the plug that I just installed coming off of the bulkhead. The main wiring harness of the truck. And this is a ground that I just have to ground off somewhere to the body later. But yeah, so this is the beauty of adding these types of connectors. So now I have the headlight harness, and now I have the harness section from the main body, and I can now just take them and plug them in. And it's that easy. So it allows you to just have simplicity with it all. If there was anything ever were to happen to the main headlight harness, I can just unplug it, take all of these out and add this plug to the next new harness. But yeah, so it's just that simple. And so now I have a nice clean connection to the front harness. I'm going to be doing the same thing to the rear of the vehicle. This bundle of wires, I'm going to have to loom this up, and then I'll be running that down under the vehicle to the back and adding the same type of plug. And so then I'll be able to just plug it into the back as well. All right, guys, so I went ahead and got the tail light section of the harness loomed up. And so now I am going to send it down underneath the truck and to the back. Once I get it back there, I'm gonna add this clip just in case I have to route it through anything tight that the plug would be too big. So I'm gonna run it back first, get it routed nice and neat, and then I'll add the plug when I get to the back of the truck. Now let's see what we got down here. There's a little loop right here from the factory. So I will just use that. Right, keep it nice and clean. Very good. And then there's this one right here. There's another one that this speaker wire is running through. I'm gonna just use all of these actually. And this is gonna keep it nice and tucked up out of the elements. Trying to do this without getting dirt in my eye. I pressure washed the back, but I didn't pressure wash the front. Very good. There's another hanger right here. And I'm going to use all the hangers I can find because the more that it's tucked up and out of the way, the better it's going to be. So, these are the hangers that I'm seeing from factory. See that one there, that one there, that one there that's used, and that's a speaker wire. And so I'm gonna just continue to run them along wherever I see those hangers all the way to the back. I'm gonna move my handy dandy laying pad to the back so I can get under here. See where this is gonna come now. So let's see. Doesn't seem like there are any more loops on my wiring. But I can just go right over the chassis here, and I can add zip ties for the rest of what I have to do. So can't complain about this routing at all. Oh, fuel tank wires right there. I'm not using any of this junk. All that can go. Get it out of here. Alrighty. So now that I have this all ran back here, I'll get a couple of zip ties and tie it in so it's not moving around. But that is, I'm not gonna call it perfect, but I'm good with it. Bassmaster. All right. I'm gonna go and grab the connector so I can now make the plug for the, at least no, I'm gonna grab the harness so I can kind of lay it out back here, and then I'm gonna make the plug because that's probably gonna be too long. So left here for the left side of the truck and right here for the right side of the truck. And I'm just gonna assume that they're going by the turn signal, not any other way. So I'm gonna just take this side of it. Plug out here. I'll have this one come straight across up top here. And then we'll just plug them in right up here. I would plug up here. I'll just find a place to tuck it off. Zip tie it out the way. Keep it nice and neat. I'll be good to go. All right, so I am back. I got the stuff that I need. This harness coming from the main harness coming from the front of the truck is only gonna have the yellow, the brown, the dark green, and the light green. And that's gonna be for just a tail light, brake light section. The trailer has, and this rear harness is set up to add a trailer setup. So with trailer brakes, and it has a red and a blue that I'm gonna have to run later, so I'm not dealing with that today. So I'll just be connecting up this plug to these wires and leaving the two top positions on this side of the plug open so I can just add those later. So those will get loomed up and routed on a later date. So I'll be back after I get all of this stuff kind of connected and ready to go. All right guys, so went ahead and got the male side of the connector added to this. I left two provisions for the red and the blue that I'm going to be adding later that connects to the trailer brake controls. And so now that's all connected, and then I'm going to just find a good spot and get this all connected up here. I don't know if you could tell, it got super dark because we're in Florida and that means the rain's coming. So I'm gonna go ahead and just get all this stuff tucked up out of here and then get inside because I'm gonna be done for the day. The weather's gonna cut it here. So, all right guys, so I'm gonna cut it off here. If this is the type of content that you like, please like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you wanna do or what you wanna see down in the comments. I still have jobs like the fuel system to finish up on this. I do have the rest of the wiring to finish up on this truck. I have the main computer and harness to install on this truck and a few other odds and ends to get everything all done. So if there's anything specific that you would like to see as it pertains to a K5 Blazer or a LS swap or anything that you could think of, just let me know in the comment section and I'll see what I can do. All right, thanks guys. Have a good one.